Welcome to Planet MicroCap. I'm your host, Robert Kraft, and joining me right now is Ian L. Paterson. He's the CEO of Plurilock Security. It's a publicly traded company. I got two symbols for you, PLUR on the TSX Venture and PLCKF on the OTCQB. And Plurilock will be presenting at our upcoming investor conference, the Planet MicroCap Showcase Vegas, in partnership with MicroCap Club at the Paris Hotel and Casino on April 22 through 24, 2025. For more information to register to see Ian's presentation, please go to planetmicrocapshowcase.com. And with that, Ian, thank you for joining me today. How are you doing?
Good to be here. Yep. How are you doing?
Oh, we're just it's another beautiful Friday here and ready to get after it. But Ian, this is actually our first time doing an interview together, showcasing and talking about Plurilock. So can you start us off with that quick overview and history of the company?
Plurilock is a cybersecurity and AI company. We originally went public in 2020, and we've been growing very rapidly. We've seen a lot of growth. Functionally, we provide cybersecurity solutions to both public sector as well as commercial, primarily North America. Despite being a Canadian company, well over 90% of our revenue comes from the United States. Our largest customers include U.S. federal government, U.S. Department of Defense, U.S. Navy, U.S. Army, U.S. Marines. And then on the commercial side, it's really global 2000 sized organizations. We are providing a couple of things. Notably, we are providing solutions, which means we help our customers when they have large projects and large problems. We are doing quite a lot of very high-end cybersecurity consulting work. So part of the business, which we'll probably talk about, is called Plurilock Critical Services. That part of the business has actually been growing at a rate of 2x year over year in terms of revenue. So it's the fastest growing segment. It's also the segment that is realizing and pushing margins up. Company has been quite acquisitive in its past. We've done 4 acquisitions, largely through our network. We've got a phenomenal advisory group as well as board. This includes people like the former director of the NSA, the former director of Naval Intelligence, a board member of Goldman Sachs and General Motors. And so we've just got a phenomenal, truly world-class team. We're out there, we're executing, and we believe that cybersecurity is more important than ever. And excited to tell you a little bit about why.
Absolutely. So cybersecurity, AI, you said at the very top, that's who the company is. So I'm really curious, what makes your solutions, who Plurilock is, unique and different compared to your peers? And then part 2 of that is, why are customers choosing Plurilock solutions versus some of maybe your peers out there?
Well, Plurilock is really a one-stop shop. So we try and make it as easy as possible for customers to solve problems. And so some of that could be that we provide third-party products. We might resell third-party hardware, third-party software. But then we bundle that together. We provide the skills and the expertise, and we just solve the problem for the customer. There's a couple of industry dynamics around cybersecurity, which we saw very early on and actually led to us going public in 2020. The first is that cybersecurity is extremely fragmented. There are thousands of cybersecurity companies out there. And there's very large companies within each segment. I mean, if you think about just the networking segment of cybersecurity, you've got massive multi-billion-dollar companies like Checkpoint, Fortinet, Palo Alto Networks, and Zscaler, and that's just in the networking side. You've also got massive companies in the endpoint security segment. So think of companies like Cylance or CrowdStrike, et cetera. Incidentally, we actually have one of the original board members from CrowdStrike, Joe Sexton, who joined our advisory group just this past year. So there's a lot of complexity in the industry. And what we're doing is we're helping our customers simplify that complexity. So that's number one. Number two, the other key driver is that there's very few qualified people who can actually do this type of work. So the estimate is 4 million jobs vacant today in cybersecurity, and that number has gone up from about 2 million jobs a handful of years ago. And so there's not enough qualified people to do the work. So you've got a very complicated environment. You've got very sophisticated threat actors. So think of both the financially motivated crime groups, so guys doing ransomware, as well as large nation states. Russia and China are 2 countries that are often talked about as having very sophisticated cybersecurity offensive capabilities. And they're doing things like misinformation, disinformation, espionage, intellectual property theft. And companies have to defend against this. What's interesting over the last handful of years is that it used to be, the only early adopters or the companies who really cared about cybersecurity were the banks, because easy to understand. You've got great assets that you need to protect against bad guys. But when we would go and talk to a manufacturing company, they would say things like, "Well, we don't have any data that's worth stealing. Who cares? No, we don't need to invest in cybersecurity." Now, with the rise of ransomware and also just the recognition that you don't need special data to be a target, everybody is having to invest in this industry in order to stay safe. So as a result, it means that there's a tremendous amount of opportunity for companies like Plurilock to grow very rapidly, which we've been doing.
Very good. So, we were talking a little offline as well and doing the background research. So you're also a co-founder of this company. Can you give us a little bit of your background prior to co-founding Plurilock?
So my background is really data and analytics, and so I've spent really my entire career using data and analytics to solve business problems. What's interesting about cybersecurity is that in a lot of cases it's a data problem, trying to understand who the bad guys are with all of the noise and firewall traffic, or trying to understand what the value of data is in a particular customer environment. So my background of doing that and being able to extract value or signal from data has been very helpful. I think the thing that's interesting though about Plurilock, just from a really more of an industry perspective, is how fast changing this industry is. And what I mean by that is that, if you were in, let's say, the mining space, it's you against the rock, right? You have to go drill, you have to go mine, you have to go get some ore, but it doesn't change. The difference here in cybersecurity is that you're trying to keep up with the bad guys who are innovating like crazy. I mean, one of the first early adopters of ChatGPT were people, bad guys, sending spam and phishing emails. I mean, I don't know if you've noticed, but over the last 2 years, spam emails have gotten really good. Phishing emails have gotten really good. And the reason for it is that bad guys in other parts of the world can use ChatGPT to correct their English. And now those emails are really hard to distinguish. So you've got bad guys who are innovating. They're making use of AI. They're making use of emerging technology. And so they're constantly innovating. And so what that means on the other side, if you're defending against those types of attacks, you have to keep up. You have to keep innovating. You have to be able to move quickly. And so my background has really positioned me very well to be able to do that.
AKA, like, you're up all night, seeing the trends, seeing what's going on. No, just kidding.
Well, I mean, I'll
As
tell
they
you
go.
yeah, just in the last 48 hours, I mean, my phone has rung a number of times from some of our key customers saying, "Hey, we need help. We had things budgeted and we thought we had the right tools, and we need your help. And specifically, we need some help around your critical services team. How fast can your people get online and start helping?" So, I mean, you joke about it, but that's a very real
No,
thing at this
yeah,
week.
absolutely. And Ian, we're definitely gonna have to do an update at some point because there's so much to talk about in cyber. We've been covering cybersecurity now as a theme, as an investing class for, geez Louise, what, 15 years now. And you're right, it has evolved so much, so many different splintering offs into various products, services, solutions, and it will continue to do so. So I'm sure we'll be covering that a bit more. But specific to Plurilock, my final question for you here today, as it pertains to the company, from what you can tell us, what would you say then are some of the main catalysts or themes that investors should pay attention to with regard to the company for 2025?
Well, for us, it's really about focusing on the fundamentals. So operationally, we have told our shareholders, and we're going to continue to tell our shareholders that our critical services team has grown at a very rapid clip. I mentioned a doubling of revenue for the last handful of years. We want to focus our attention on critical services. That's where we're providing high-end consulting. Our margins are pretty hefty on that, and it's also driving a huge chunk of value for our customers. I mean, I'll give you an example. We had a customer in 2024. We started working with them in the spring. We did a couple $100,000 worth of some initial work for them. We identified significant deficiencies, both in terms of the risk that they had, in terms of the lack of value they were getting from their current solutions, I will say, and also the bad guys and what they were up to. As a result of that initial engagement, it actually led to the largest sale in our company's history. We announced a $19.3 million sale just at the beginning of Q4 last year, which really came as a result of the work that we were doing inside that company. And that same company was calling me earlier this week, asking for more help. So this is a huge driver for us as a business. We're going to continue focusing on that. That's number one. Number two, we are very focused on going and expanding within our markets. And so that's both the public sector across North America, both Canada and the United States, as well as other large enterprise clients. Number three, we've also in our past we have been acquisitive. So I mentioned that we have previously successfully identified, negotiated, acquired, and integrated 4 acquisitions. And that could be an area that we focus on again this year. I think always interesting depending on market dynamics. But we've got the skills, we've got the team and the know-how to be able to do that. And then the last is actually going out and telling our story. And so we're excited to come to the event in April and start to educate a broader group of shareholders on what we're up to.
Very good. Well, Ian, with that, where can our audience go and find more information on Plurilock?
Plurilock.com/IR, short for investor relations. That's the best way to sign up. You can sign up, get email updates. The other thing that you might want to do, we've just launched a new media property called Code and Country. This is both a YouTube show as well as a podcast. And it's where I am interviewing some of the leaders of cybersecurity. So people like the former director of national intelligence who used to brief President Bush on a daily basis in the Oval Office. It's a long form sit down conversation. I also interviewed earlier the head of cybercrime for Canada at the RCMP. And we've got a terrific lineup of guests. So if you're maybe not as familiar with the industry and you're looking to find a resource just to get up to speed, that would certainly be one. Otherwise, plurilock.com/IR, sign up for investor updates.
Very cool. Well, Ian, thank you so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate it. Good luck, stay safe, and I'll see you in Vegas.
Thanks, Robert.